There's a major shortage in trades, and we're not building things like we used to. I think that becomes the Achilles heel of anybody who's in the construction business, finding good people to work. We're constantly up against the wall trying to build a team. I'm fortunate in that I've got a really good team. It's taken me years to build it, but it's not an easy situation. We've got probably, I think the statistic is 200 people a month moving to the valley here in Tucson, and with the housing shortage, rental side, and home ownership and new builds being down, there's always a need for building. So right now, it's great that we have a trade school that's local, that's pulling people into the trades and showing them that it's a good way to make money. It's a good way to start a future. And the sky's the limit. Anytime you get into the trades, it's not like you're going to be stuck doing that same thing. It's just an introduction into the world of construction. And as you find a niche, something that you like to do, you're going to have the ability to grow and build your own business if you want, or work for a bigger company. I've got guys who started out, just on their own doing plumbing and electrical, and now they're making $250,000 a year. So the ability to make money and to actually make an impact on the community it's awesome, but it is still way behind. We need lots more people. Yeah, I think it all started when college became the way for people to get out of blue collar work. So folks were coming out of the country and going to get a higher education so that they could get out of the factories, get off the farm. And we got to a point where that was the norm, where you just went to a 4-year college out of high school because if you could afford it or you get scholarships, that's what you did to further yourself. Now we've gotten so far behind with people who work with their hands that we're in a lot of trouble. So I think that's where it all started, is that people came off of blue collar work and went to college to avoid that lifestyle because it was backbreaking. It still is. But back then, trades weren't making the money that they do now. It wasn't a real, vocation. It was just something you did to make it by. So now we've got the ability to really turn that pathway into a true career forever. There is something really satisfying at the end of the day, backing up and looking at something that you built, because it's supposed to be there essentially forever. So that's what makes all the hard work worth it, is when you back up, you actually produce something, you're actually doing something.
There's so much money to be made in this industry.
Yeah, there is a lot of money, and I think if the manual labor part of it, the physicality is scary. There are so many administrative jobs in construction that really should start at a trade school. I'm always of the mind that architects should be studying actual construction. And they do in some instances. But if you want to get into the trades and work on the administrative side, there's a huge shortage of people who understand the trades, who can then work in the office. And the best way to do that is put your hands on it and figure it out. And then once you're in the office and you're speaking to subs and you're speaking to people, you'll have the ability to speak intelligently and be useful in that instance. So I think some people are tactile learners, yeah. And some people are auditory, and some people learn by reading, and that doesn't really matter. I mean, as long as you have a good organization that teaches trade, hands-on trades, you can come from a background where you don't think that you're particularly handy or have good hands and still learn a lot. Like I said, there are so many different specialties you can branch off onto. Not all construction is banging nails. It's not all carpentry. There's a lot of brains in construction. There's a lot of troubleshooting that needs to be done, and there's a lot of intellectual behavior. As a matter of fact, some of the best subs I have are incredibly smart, and that seems to speak to people who are kind of afraid of sweating. It's not all sweat, but that is the big part of it. I mean, you have to want to be able to get out of bed and work hard every day, and that's what my guys like to do. They go home at night tired and sore and dirty, and that's part of the fun. So we are going to be attracting people towards that have that the proclivity to be, hands-on, but it's not necessary. If the phrase hard work scares you, then don't work. Then don't get into the construction trades, or any trade for that matter. I mean, there's no secret to success. It's really just working circles around everybody, no matter what you do. So If somebody's, if hard work, if I knew someone who was coming to school or wanted to get into construction, but they're afraid of hard work, I'd say don't do it. Yeah, I think that's a good use of a trade school, is that, especially like the Ideal Institute, you're going to have your hands on all phases of construction. So it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. You know, it's a little taste of everything without diving too deep into anything. So I would say just show up and see what you like. Oh, I think we just need more places for people to live. I think that's our biggest problem. So where would I like to see it? I think it's on a decent path right now. It's trickier than it should be. It's harder for me and other general contractors than it should be, because we should have a pool of people to pick from. We should have people, you know, knocking down our doors wanting to work. And that's not necessarily the case. So what would I like to see? More people in the trades. I think any GC is going to tell you the same thing. A lot of our skilled labor is coming from across the border. They're fantastic, hardworking, but they're not American citizens. And that long-term can be problematic for our country. I have nothing against anybody who wants to work no matter where they're from. But when, 80% of my skilled trades aren't even American, that gives us pause, gives us something to think about. The more people who are interested in construction in this town, the better. So yeah, I would like to see more people interested in it. Typically it's passed down generationally. You know, that's what you do, what your father did or your grandfather before him. So what we are seeing on job sites is this generational thing is not happening. You know, the trades, especially in concrete masonry, they're getting older. The young people do want to play on their computers and not put their hands on things. I do find that the young ones who are on the job site working are proud and happy to do what they do, and they end up making a lot of money. So, but those people aren't afraid of hard work. And I will tell you, if, again, I want to go back to it, if anybody is afraid of hard work, don't get into construction. But I would probably say don't get into anything, because in order to succeed, you have to work hard. Yeah, that's a misconception, totally. Do we have dumb people in the trades? Absolutely. Lots of them, but there's dumb people in every single vocation you can name. And that's just a stereotype that will die out with time. I think all you have to do is go on a job site and pull some of these tradesmen aside and see if you can have an intellectual conversation. You'll find that most of them are pretty darn smart. We have to be able to troubleshoot on our feet. You know, everything is a creative endeavor. Yes, we follow plans, but it is not ever exactly to plan. There's always a pivot, and there's always brain power that needs to come into play. So yeah, that's a misconception. I hope dies.
We need to change that.
I think we are changing that. I think that it is becoming known that construction work isn't just for grunts. Yeah, I think we're finding out that a lot of smart people get into it. So I think that the punchline of the story is you'll never be stuck if you start in the trades. There's always room for lateral changes, vertical changes. So you always have the ability to move. Whereas if you get into a desk job, a lot of times that's what you're going to be doing. But if you are smart and hardworking, you're always going to move up in construction. They always promote from within, because they want people with hands-on experience. So yeah, if anybody has any questions or wants to reach out, just go to tcmtucson.com, look us up. Happy to chat with you about construction trades if that's what you want to talk about, or helping you out with a project.